Okay, so let's do a couple things. So let's go to the test database and let's do some writing, and let's also do some reading too. So this one is on port 27001. Let's go to the MongoD. Let's connect to the MongoD that's on port 27002. So there's 27001, 2, and 3 are what I've used in this demo. And there we are. So I'm connected to the same set, and I'm on the secondary. Database test, database test. Okay, so over here, I can do queries, and then I can also insert some data. And there's our data. So now let's go over to the replica and see if it has the data. Now the replication is asynchronous, so it would take some time for the data to get here to the MongoD backing this, even though this has already been written on the primary. That's because replication is asynchronous. Now in this situation, because the server is very idle, this PC is very idle, and we're running on over the local network interface, if you will, which is super fast, the lag or latency of the being asynchronous here is probably a few milliseconds at most, I would guess, on average, let's say. Okay, so you see we have this, we tried to do a query and we got an error back, not master and slave OK equals false. So what we're doing here is MongoDB, it will not let us read from a secondary unless we explicitly declare that we're okay with having eventually consistent read semantics. In other words, this MongoD that we're talking to could be behind this one. And it's almost guaranteed if the writes are active that it's at least a couple milliseconds behind at a minimum. So we need to say, hey, I'm okay with eventually consistent reads. I understand that those could be slightly stale or more than slightly stale if something's wrong with the cluster. And my application can handle that. So what we're going to do then is we're going to say that. We're going to say I'm okay with eventually consistent reads, which is called slave OK. So we're going to run slave OK. Okay, now we've indicated that for this connection to the MongoD, we're okay with eventually consistent reads. Now we'll try our query, and we get the results. So it looks like this. So now if we go back over to the primary, insert another one, maybe we can do an update, and maybe we'll do a remove. Okay, so looks okay. If we use this syntax, get a little more readable output perhaps. And you'll see this X99 here, which was the newly inserted one. It's over here too. So we seem to be in sync and replicating correctly. In fact, make it a little more involved. Okay, so we're doing inserts on the primary. And now let's go over here and look at the secondary. And we'll see it's getting them. Now it may be behind the primary, but they're coming along. And we can kind of roughly feel what lag there is when this stops, and to see how long it takes us to get to the 50,000 or 50,002, whatever the right number is. Hopefully we're lagging just a couple of milliseconds, so it won't even be noticeable, just from a command prompt human visibility point of view here. And I put the sleep for 1 millisecond in so it wouldn't be too fast. There, it's done. Right, so and presumably we have the same number there. And if we want, let's do a query and sort by ID descending, so we can see the end of the collection, if you will, in the sense that we know that what kind of data we inserted. I'll run that over here. There we go.